Today I'm going to show you how to make this super easy, delicious, and ultra festive Christmas tree cupcake. It's a moist and fluffy chocolate cupcake on the bottom with an inverted ice cream cone covered in buttercream and filled with candy on top. Super delicious, really quick. Let's get started. I'm adding 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour into a sifter, over a bowl, over a kitchen scale. I want to make sure all my measurements are exact, and a kitchen scale is the easiest way to do that. Everyone in Europe will agree with me. All right, in you go. 1 teaspoon of baking soda, sticky. 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt, 1/2 cup of a nice cocoa powder. Try not to skimp on this part because this is the main flavor of the cake. So go ahead and use something that is going to be really rich and kind of fresh too. Cocoa powder doesn't last forever, people. And we're not going to forget 1 1/3 cups of granulated sugar. Going to give this a nice sift. The cocoa powder can get kind of lumpy, and you don't want to have any of that like clumps of salt or leavening agent hanging out in any place. Look at all those lumps. And the real stubborn ones, just leave behind. All right, give this a quick whisk. Get everything nice and distributed. There we go. Set aside, and now it's time for the wet ingredients. I know sugar is a wet ingredient. It went into the dry anyways. You're gonna deal with it. Okay. 1/2 cup of buttermilk, and if you don't have buttermilk, it's kind of annoying because buttermilk goes bad really quickly and you never use the entire giant container of it. I've been there, so I understand. Go ahead and use whole milk. You can add in like a tablespoon of either lemon juice or vinegar. That acid will make some magic happen. 1/4 cup of sour cream, and I know that sour cream is only a thing in America. Nobody else uses sour cream, so go ahead and use regular yogurt if you don't have it. And if you don't have yogurt, you can just use 1/4 cup extra of that buttermilk and it'll be fine, trust me. Kind of optional, but I'm adding in 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Might almost get lost in there, but it's like a little bit of a subtle flavor you can feel. And now 1/4 cup of strong, warm, or hot coffee. If you hate coffee, go ahead and use some water. It's fine, I've done that before. And if you're worried about kids and caffeine, which I totally get, use decaf. Last, we have 2 medium large eggs. Crack them, put them in there. No shells, please. All right, give it a whisk. I'm trying to be neat because I get lots of comments about the splishing and splashing that happens in my kitchen. So, neatly stir, nothing going around anywhere. Set it aside carefully. It's not going to slide off the island. We're going to combine our wet and our dry in a stand mixer fitted with a paddle attachment. And yes, I have a new stand mixer. It's my little baby. It's misty blue and I'm a little bit obsessed. Copper is life. Okay, let's get to mixing. Add those dry ingredients into the standing mixer. Now we're going to pour the wet ingredients in too. It's a really easy recipe. It's kind of foolproof. And just to make everybody happy, I will be using this guard. I actually have like 3 or 4 of them. People are always like, why don't you buy the guard? I have them. I'm using them for you. Let's see how it works. There was no puff anyways. It would have been fine, see? Increase the speed. Let's scrape the bowl down. If you ever don't want to follow along exactly with the recipe, go ahead and just go to preppykitchen.com. All the recipes are there in full. YouTube videos are inside there as well, so you can watch the video while you look at the recipe. Go ahead. And back to mixing. All done. Let's take a look. It's a very thin batter, but it's going to be an amazing fluffy cupcake. You're going to be shocked. Okay, batter is done. Time to put some cupcake papers into our cupcake tin, and then we're going to be spooning in that mixture. I actually just got back from vacation, and I took tons of my stuff with me because I was like, I'll be shooting every day. Basically, I didn't shoot at all, and now I left all the stuff. I forgot to bring it over. So I don't have my big ice cream scoop, I have my tiny one, and I need 2 scoops of this. This is going to be 1.5, I guess, tablespoons. So you need about 3 tablespoons. In you go. This will really fluff up, so don't overfill. If you do that, it'll become like a chocolate lake on top. And yes, that did happen to me. So be careful. These are going to go into the oven at 350 for about like 12 to 15 minutes. They'll be nice and springy, very fluffy to the touch, but not foamy. If you take them out and you hear popping, not done yet. So into the oven, 350. For that buttercream, I'm using 1 pound of unsalted butter at room temperature, plop it in, and then we're gonna be adding in our paddle attachment, cream it up so it's kind of like nice and fluffy, and then we'll start adding in our sugar. And yes, there is a lot of sugar, but it's because of the decoration scheme, I tell you. Let it do its thing for a while. It'll be a minute. While it's mixing, add in half a teaspoon of kosher salt. Okay, so now it's nice and fluffy. Well, not fluffy as much as like really smooth and creamy. We're gonna take our bowl off, set it to the side, and begin sifting in some powdered sugar. I'm gonna say about 2 pounds of powdered sugar. You could use less. It's really about the consistency and your desired sweetness. Okay, don't put all the sugar in at once. Give it a sift. You don't have to sift the powdered sugar, but it will get little lumps, and if you're using certain piping tips, then it will be clogging them and you'll be sad because the buttercream will not be usable for decoration. There's no way to fix it, I'm sorry. See, I see all these lumps in here. Not cool. This, by the way, is how we're gonna make the snow effect happen at the very end of this cupcake situation. Back on here, guard is on, let's give it a mix. I mean, it's working on this side. I'm covered in powdered sugar, so that tea towel, I don't know. Right now you can also add in about a tablespoon of cream or milk. Okay, that's incorporated. Let's add in some more sugar. Repeat, repeat, repeat until we have a consistency and taste we're happy with. Back on and, mix, mix, mix. Right now I'm adding in a teaspoon of vanilla. Scrape the bowl down. Looks pretty good. We're gonna reserve a cup or maybe 2 cups for the bottom of the cupcakes. It's like a nice snowy situation happening. The rest we're gonna dye green for our trees. It'll be very fun, really easy. Let's get this divided. I'm reserving a cup or so of this for our bottom part of the cupcake where it's gonna be like the white backdrop. The rest of this is gonna get a drop or 12 or 17,000 of green food coloring until we have a nice dark green. And when you're dyeing things green, go ahead and add a little bit of black to make it look more realistic. That is a good tip. Okay, so green is not the easiest color to get super saturated, so there will be a fair amount going in here. I actually just realized that I ran out of my gel food coloring, which is my favorite. So I'm using some regular supermarket food coloring. It'll be fine, but we have to add a little bit more in. So just a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. I also have some of this oil-based food coloring, which you're supposed to use for making beautiful bonbons. So you can use this with cocoa butter, and it won't make everything seize, but you can also use it in buttercream. So in you go. Okay, and then just like a drop of black, so like an actual drop. That's all you need. Don't splatter on me. Let's see where we're at. I'm covered in food coloring, but that's okay. All right, this is a little bright, a little bit more black. And then if you want to adjust the colors, you can add some blue in, be an artist. All right, many bottles of food coloring later. It's basically where I want it to be. It does darken up when it dries. As it is exposed to the air, the color comes out more. Don't go crazy, but just being real, I didn't have that gel food coloring and the other stuff isn't really strong. So it's like bottle, 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 bottle. Okay, into a piping bag, fitted with a closed star tip, please, and we can get started. I just snipped the tip off of a piping bag and we're gonna just really rustically pipe some white buttercream on there, get a nice base. And if you want to, you could even mess it up a bit to make it look more like a wintry scene. This looks horrible now, but it'll look great with powdered sugar all over it. You gotta trust me here. Now for our Christmas tree, we're just using a sugar cone. I'm just gonna give it a really thin coat first of all, and yes, this will get messy, so you could use gloves if you want. Just coat the surface here because even though we're going to be piping buttercream little branches all over the place, there probably will be gaps, and you just want to fill it in so it doesn't look like there's an ice cream cone underneath. You want it to look nice and natural. I'm trying my best to not have completely green Grinch hands from all the buttercream, but it's not going to be easy. You could just put an empty cone on top of the cupcake, but that's not really fun. So what you can also do is fill it with some candy. I will be adding in some M&Ms. But you can use whatever brand you like. This is not a sponsored post. So let's pop those in. Flip that cupcake on. There we go. And you can adjust it a bit too if you want, but that looks pretty fine to me. I'm using a small star tip. This is a 32, but you can use a 30, 31, anything in that range. And we're just gonna pipe little tiny stars all over, and we're almost done. This part is really fun for kids because they can just do a repetitive task and feel successful without too much guidance from you. Just piping these stars on. We're almost done. Where are those little elves to help me out here? Okay, all done. That looks nice, I think. In my humble opinion, that looks pretty Christmassy, but we're gonna add a magical finishing touch with some more powdered sugar. So let's just give it a little dusting and you're gonna see it looks like a winter wonderland. If you don't wanna use 7,000 pounds of food coloring to get a green tree, it could be a white tree, like a flocked tree, or you could add in some raspberry powder for a pink tree, which is pretty fashionable, I think. Or you could even just use some matcha powder and get a nice pastel green one. So, you have options here. You don't have to use all the chemicals. All right, so we're gonna give this a dusting now. Just tap, tap, tap. It looks so nice. I love it. Cat. A cat. My Christmas tree cupcakes are all done, but let me just show you this super moist and delicious cupcake first. I've been snacking on a lot of buttercream, so I just have hit my limit. I can't have any more, but I could have some more cupcake. Take a look at this. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Super fluffy, moist, and chocolatey. No, I don't taste the coffee. Yes, this is delicious. Wow. I hope I was able to show you just how easy this was. It looks really impressive, but there's no skill involved. I promise you. It's actually a pretty popular recipe on the blog, and I've seen many people make them, and they all look cute. Even if it's a little bit asymmetrical here or there, don't worry about it. Just add a little bit more powdered sugar. All right, thanks so much for watching. Hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe.